New York City in February 1993. It was my first time inside Rockefeller Center. It was the first time that I ever even considered paying $17 for a drink, and it was the first time that I ever saw Paul McCartney perform live. The date was February 13th, and I was at Saturday Night Live at NBC's Studio 8H at 30 Rock. Alec Baldwin was the host, Adam Sandler sang on Weekend Update, and Chris Farley did his now famous "Remember when you were with the Beatles? That was awesome" interview with Paul McCartney. Everyone in the audience howled because, well, it was awesome being there that night. I was on the floor for the live taping, sitting just a few feet away from McCartney as he played two new songs and then came back for a third song, the Beatles classic, Hey Jude. And this is very cool. You can see me when Alec Baldwin walks into the audience and stops to deliver a gag. I mean, that's me, right there, Studio 8H, Saturday Night Live. Later we went to the after party. Now that's a place for the cast to blow off steam after a stressful week. Sting and Paul McCartney chatted in the back. Cast members like Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Mike Myers, Julia Sweeney, and Tim Meadows all hung out together, all still kind of revved from doing the show. When he heard that I was from Canada, Phil Hartman said, "Welcome, fellow Canadian." He then told me he had quit smoking, and then he smoked all my cigarettes. We kept the bartenders busy and chatted with the folks whose names I had seen on Saturday Night Live's end credits every week. Jack Handy, the writer behind the show's surreal deep thought segments, and I hit it off, talking about writing and, I don't know, whatever else you talk about at 4:30 a.m. in a smoky bar. After a while, he disappeared into the darkness, but then boomeranged back a few minutes later. "Come with me," he said. "There's someone here that you really have to meet." That someone was Allen Ginsberg, Beat Generation icon, counterculture hero, wearer of tiny round glasses, the author of Howl and one of the most quoted lines of poetry ever.
"I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked."
It was late. The night was turning increasingly dreamlike, and now here was Carlo Marx from On the Road. What do you say to a guy who has William S. Burroughs and Patti Smith in his Rolodex? I remembered a poem of his, one that I called "Don't Smoke." I later found out that wasn't the title. It was called "Put Down Your Cigarette Rag, Don't Smoke." But he knew what I meant, and he said, "Well, I've written all new verses to that. Would you like to hear them?" Well, of course. I nodded and was treated to an energetic recital about cigarette filth from a man who paradoxically was a lifelong smoker. I don't really remember the specifics. I recall a "nope, nope, nope, dope, dope, dope" chant, but the words took a backseat to the performance. Watching Ginsberg do a late-night poetry reading in an East Village bar transported me back in time, like I was living history, experiencing something I'd only ever read about. The only things missing were Jack Kerouac bongo drums and the snapping of fingers when he was done. It was a really remarkable moment. Under unusual circumstances, Ginsberg shared his art with us, taking the chance that he would be drowned out by the nightclub's PA system or ignored by indifferent drunks who didn't really know who he was. I was struck by his fearlessness, his belief that what he was doing was good, that it was important and needed to be heard. Was it a perfect performance? Probably not, given the hour and really the situation. But what I liked about it was just that. I suspect Ginsberg might have agreed with Salvador Dali when he said, "Have no fear of perfection, you'll never reach it." Creativity takes courage. It takes audacity to make art and put it out in the world. Sharing something you've made, a poem, a song, a painting, food, whatever it might be, makes you vulnerable, open to criticism or ridicule. The anxiety that often comes hand in hand with creativity breeds procrastination, feelings of inadequacy, and fear of rejection. But watching Ginsberg's spur-of-the-moment recital taught me a lesson in freedom, of how crucial it is to make your unknown known. He stood in a room filled with people who had just performed for millions of people on live television. And yet I thought what he did took more intestinal fortitude because it was intimate, impromptu, and completely without a net. In the book on being a writer, Ginsberg says, "Follow your inner moonlight. Don't hide the madness." Now recently, that line has been reduced to an internet meme, but the full quote is way more revealing. You say what you want to say when you don't care who's listening, he continued. If you're grasping to get your own voice, you're making a strained attempt to talk. So it's a matter of just listening to yourself as you sound when you're talking about something that's intensely important to you. That Sunday morning, he followed that inner moonlight, letting his freak flag fly, expressing himself in a performance that really mattered for me, for him, and a handful of others lucky enough to be there.